Let's go. You lead the way. Where are we headed? Towards a net zero future, of course. Cleaner water, more electricity, a sustainable society. That's the destination we've set ourselves. This we know. Yes, we know exactly where we're going, but we need to get there quicker. So, let's build on the progress we've already made by working and walking together. With the right partners, tools and ideas, we'll become an unstoppable force. This we know. Right now, there are businesses who are putting technology and sustainability at the heart of everything they do. Brave leaders turning maybes into realities and building something better for everyone. Now is the time to look to the future and reinvent ourselves today, empowering others to do the same tomorrow. Yes, we know what the future holds, and we know how to get there. So, let's take charge of the journey today.
Welcome to our school board meeting.
Hello.
Hi.
Spiffio. Access in any language.
So, hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Ritu, and I'd like to start off by thanking each of you for taking the time to participate today. And we'll be here for about an hour, and I'll lead the discussion. And I'd also like to thank T4 for providing this platform and the opportunity to reflect on our journey and also to learn from the exemplary practices of all the shortlisted schools in the categories. As I said, I'll lead the discussions and I'll ask each of the participants, each of the panelists, some questions to explore their school's approach to community engagement. So, can I introduce the panelist? Our first panelist is Ms. Urmila Chaudhary. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Urmila. I work as an education director for People. And in 2015, we started work in the Municipal Corporation School, Lajpat Nagar 3. And today we are going to be sharing our journey and what we learned from that journey with you. Very proud to be here. Thank you, T4.
Thank you, Urmila. And the next panelist is Ms. Dipali. Hello.
Hi everyone. Myself Dipali, a primary teacher in MCD Primary School, Lajpat Nagar 3, Delhi, India. I have been scaffolding learning for last 13 years and I love my work.
Thank you, Dipali. And our last panelist is Preeti Vats. So, hi, Preeti.
Hi, Ritu, and thank you, T4, for this platform. I think it's been 5 years for me to work at the People MCD School, Primary School, in Lajpat Nagar, and at other schools. And I think it's a great, and I'm really excited today to share what we do at our schools with everyone. So here we go.
Thank you. And thank you for being here, all of you. So, before we start a discussion, I thought we can just play a video and set the context for our audience.
सबसे अच्छी खासियत है कि हम सभी कर्मचारी टीचिंग स्टाफ नॉन टीचिंग स्टाफ सभी एक साथ मिलकर एकजुट होकर एक बच्चों के सर्वांगीण विकास के लिए प्रयास करते रहते हैं। और हमारे जो बच्चे आते हैं अधिकतर वो गरीब घराने से ही आते हैं, जैसे रिक्शा चालक है, वेल मजदूर हैं, तो उन जो पेरेंट्स हैं वो शिक्षित नहीं होते पूर्णतः। बहुत से ऐसे भी बच्चे हैं जो इनकी फर्स्ट जनरेशन जो यहाँ पढ़ने आ रहे हैं, तो हम पेरेंट्स को बुला के इसके बारे में अवगत कराते रहते हैं, जागरूक करते रहते हैं। और कभी पीटीएम मीटिंग है, कभी एसएमसी की मीटिंग है, और चाय की चर्चा, इस तरह से हर व्यक्ति को शामिल करके उनको बताते रहते हैं। और सभी टीचर्स हमारे यही प्रयास करते हैं कि हम बच्चे के हर लेवल तक पहुँचे। जो बच्चा जिस लेवल का है उसके हिसाब से शिक्षा दें, उसकी रुचि के अनुसार शिक्षा दें, और भयमुक्त वातावरण हमेशा विद्यालय को बना रहे। बच्चे अपने बिना भय के वो टीचर से बात कर सकें और अपनी जो समस्या है उसको रख सकें।
जैसे पेरेंट टीचर हो या कुछ बच्चे पढ़ाई नहीं करें उसमें हर चीज़ बताते हैं। अगर बच्चे पीट है या इसमें कोई दिक्कत है वो हर चीज़ जो बताते रहते हैं। व्हाट्सएप पे या कभी मीटिंग होती है उसमें बुला करते हैं।
Child-centered. Everything that we do is basically activity-based and child-centered. So we focus on the kids and we try to make them learn things through activities. And we have so many scaffoldings in the class for that. Like we have projectors, we have Ganesh Mala and all these things. So it helps them to learn with that.
अच्छा लगता है, टीचर बहुत अच्छी है, मतलब प्यार से समझाती, प्यार से पढ़ाती है।
नॉर्मल सबसे अच्छी बात ये नहीं, और बच्चे क्लास में नहीं आया तो फोन करके मना कर देंगे कि बच्चे की क्लास में नहीं। और ये दूसरा ये कि ग्रुप बना हुआ उसका सारी बातें पेरेंट्स से बात पेरेंट्स मीटिंग के अलावा उससे रहते मालूम करते रहते हैं। और ये बच्चों को बताना है किसी भी बात को पेरेंट्स करते हैं।
Hi. It was lovely to see the school's journey in that short video. So, Urmila, my first question is to you. So, when the organization started working with MCD Lajpat Nagar back in 2015, why did we start Kamal Ki class and Chai Pe Baatcheet sessions in the school?
We were working with underprivileged communities, and often we make the mistake of thinking that if someone is not educated, they will not understand or be interested in their child's education. When I had conversations with parents, I realized that that was simply not true. In fact, when parents didn't have an education themselves, they were even more keenly interested in their children's education. They were interested, but they were afraid to ask. There was an invisible wall between school and parents. I wanted to break that wall. We invited parents for informal conversations over tea, when we would discuss anything and everything from school to their children's education, the difficulties they were facing with their children. It became almost like a support group for parents, and the numbers increased from initially just 40 parents to so many parents that then we had to split the conversations over tea, or chai pe baatcheet as we call it, into several of them, one for each grade level. And you know, this also led to the idea that we should have parents actually enter the classrooms, sign up for a class, and observe a lesson, because through the conversations it became quite apparent that that the parents were wondering about how their children were being taught, and they wanted to understand the teaching learning process better, and they were often comparing how their children were being taught to their neighbor's child. So they would say things like how their neighbor's child were at the age of 4 in kindergarten, filling notebooks and copying from the board. So at that time, we felt it was really important for them to see a high quality early years setting, to see for themselves firsthand how their children are actually being taught. And these two small ideas had a very big impact, very simple ideas actually. And we also did parent orientations at the start of an academic session, and held workshops for parents on topics that interested them, to make school a lot more accessible for parents.
All right, that sounds lovely. Thank you. And you mentioned the parent orientation. So, Preeti, could you tell us more about this parent orientation that you conduct at the beginning of the academic year?
Preeti seems to have frozen.
Yeah.
Should
So
I quickly
would you
step
take?
in? Yeah. Oh, there she is.
Oh,
back
she's
again.
back.
So at the start of the session, so when parents come in and join in, then they see a school where they're seeing so many different things on the walls. And when we talk about them in the classrooms, and within few days, when children come into the school and then they go back home, they see so many different things. And we very soon we realized that we do need to orient parents on all the pedagogies, all the systems we are using, because the school we are trying to create is very different from a picture of schools they have seen, or they have been to, or they have seen anywhere. So the new pedagogies we are following are very new to them and very different in a way that they don't understand those. So in the parent orientations, our major goal is to share with parents that what we are doing at school and what are our expectations as a school for the parents, and so that we are very clear on that what is our role in bringing your child forward and what is your role. Along with that, sharing the goals we have for the child, like the big goals we have for the classroom, the learning goals we have, or the activities we are going to do. So to share all of that in advance, so the parents are prepared to like enter this journey with us and actually help us achieve the potential we want for our children.
All right. So, Preeti, that, like you mentioned, does observing lessons and seeing the classroom interactions firsthand help their parents see value in the education their children are receiving in the school? And if yes, could you also tell us about some of the other interventions implemented in the school to engage the parents throughout the year?
Yeah. To your first question, does it change their perspective? Definitely yes. So when like Urmila said that their perception of school is very different from what we are trying to create, right? Because we are dealing with again 21st century kids, right? And when they enter our classroom, so we organize these monthly spaces where we allow parents to come in and they sit in different classrooms, and these spaces provide parents with all the information, the way the teacher is teaching, and how, and at the end of that we do debriefs with parents that what did they see, what would they want us to improve, and if something was differently done, do they feel that this is the right kind of thing to do, and is it age appropriate for the child. And then we also try to draw conclusions on that how you were taught and how we are trying to change things here, and they see the difference. For example, a parent initially was asking that I don't understand what phonics is, and my child is just doing different actions for different sounds at home and I don't understand that. So after observing the classroom, that parent has now become an exemplar for us. Now we do, when we do parent orientation, that parent comes and he explains it to other new parents. So I think these Kamal Ki classroom spaces, they really help parents understand that what is happening inside the classrooms. And other than understanding, it is also creating a very open space for them to come into the classroom. Like we have nothing to hide. Like these are open spaces, and I think it makes our school more accessible to them and teachers as well.
Yeah, definitely. And because I've been a teacher in the school, I know like how parents felt when they could see their kids answering, participating in the classroom discussions, doing peer learning activities. So that definitely did sort of make them see the value in the education their child was receiving at these schools.
Yes.
And like I mentioned, I've seen these interactions happen every day. As an academic coordinator, Preeti is always seen at the gate to welcome their parents and students in the morning and see them off after school. So I've witnessed and been part of these quality and parent engagement happening every day at school, at the school gate, in the corridors, when parents come to drop off their kids or pick them up. So, Preeti, what do you think? How important are these everyday interaction between the parent and the teacher in our schools?
I think when we talk about the homeschool connect, uh, this I've seen has been the changing the dynamics of it. So school is no more a place where they'll just drop in their kid on the gate and they'll leave. Teachers are there with smiling faces to welcome the parents, welcome the students in the morning, and when they're dropping their kids, they have some things to talk about. The teacher is there to talk to them, and it's not like only when the PTMs will happen. So yes, there are all the formal conversations happening, there are orientations, there are chai pe baatcheets, there are PTMs happening at the end of every term. But these everyday interactions, I think, and these everyday interactions also make children see that how my parent and my teacher are connected and they're working towards me, so they see the value in it. So I think moreover, it just helps us create a positive connection between the teacher and the parent, and it also allows for a space where the parent without any pressure can share their feedback on a regular basis with us, and makes the school more approachable, look more approachable than it would look in a formal setup. So I think these conversations every day are really great, and these conversations actually benefit the teachers just beyond their classrooms as well, because it shows how invested the parents are. And again, it also shows that how we want to go beyond just academics and have a connect with parents. And we can say that we have been able to achieve that parent connection, and parents do realize that they are in this with us and they are not just dropping their kids at school and leaving, but actually they are in this with us, equal partners.
Yeah. I quite like the idea of the school community or this whole ecosystem that you're building here, and home is not separate from the school and vice versa. So, Dipali, next question is to you. How does it help you as a teacher when parents are more invested or engaged?
Yeah, just like Preeti mentioned, that we believe that parents are the equal partners that we have with us. So we are on the different sides of a pipe. So we are working together. And for that, what we do is from the very beginning of the session, we try to put them, we try to make them aware about things, what we are doing in school, what is going to happen, the monthly goals, and then the midterm goals, or the goals that we have. Along with that, we set the expectations from parents as well as students, like regularity in the school, which we believe that it's very important. If a child is regular in the school, it is very easy for the child to understand the concept on day-to-day basis. And then along with that, there's a reinforcement of what is done in the class. So at times, since they are first generation learners, many parents are more keen towards the tuitions and this other scaffoldings. But we try to train them if they are regular in the school and they're coming regularly and doing what we give as a homework or the home tasks, then there is no requirement for any other expenditure, because they for their livelihood they are earning according to what they need. So all these tuitions and all these are also not sought for. Along with that, we have regular meetings, we have regular interactions with the parents, we have WhatsApp groups after post COVID. These have also worked a lot. So these, along with that, even single of via student, we keep the parents informed, we ask them, and we make sure that until unless it's very much required, a child should be in the school, because every day counts, every day is going to help a child to learn so many new things. And then we keep them, the parents, informed about the learning levels and the progress that a child is getting after every week, every month. So we just don't restrict towards the PTMs or the formal meetings that we have, as Preeti just mentioned. So we make sure that we are talking to them regularly, and we are keeping them informed, so that we are, in reality, we act as partners, and it helps the students to learn to the best of their potentials.
Yeah. And I've been Dipali's colleague for about 3 years. And, we consistently worked on involving the parent community in their children's school education. And Dipali would always come up with innovative ideas to raise awareness and enable parents to support the children at home. So, Dipali, could you give us a specific example where you saw the result of parent involvement in a student's school performance?
Yeah, there have been many examples, and we have been carried by many. But one such I would give as an instance. Like, I had a student, we both were there. So we had a student called Kirti. She was an average, she was an average scorer. She would do well in class, but then with the help of the parents, by involving the parents regularly and making the parents aware about the intentions, what we have, what we are working for, she improved a lot. And as a result, it gives me a lot of happiness that she could achieve really good in Medhavi, which is a state level exam for class 4 and 5. So she performed really well in that. Along with that, she could go through exam also, that is for the best. There are few really good schools under government. Those are called Rajki Pratibha Vidyalayas. So she got one of through one of them also, and now she's doing well. And initially, she was not a very top scorer, and she was not very good in academics. But with the help of the parents and we acting as partners, we could get such results. So all these are examples for other parents as well. And the parents were also not much educated. They could not help her much, but just by sending the child regularly to the school and doing what is sought from the school and having the interactions regularly, keeping them informed about all the things, we could get such results for many of the kids. This is one example, and it was a great transformation that we could do.
Definitely. It's very endearing to just remember all these examples and how, the students' behavior completely changed or their performance completely changed when the parents came on board, when they saw,
Absolutely.
everybody is an equal partner, and they talk to each other. Like, I remember the look on the children's faces when they saw, oh, my teacher regularly talks to my parent, and the parent also keeps in touch with the teacher. So,
Absolutely. And it also motivates the kids a lot to work towards
yes.
what they want in life.
Urmila ma'am, because you've been with people from the very beginning, what was the impact that you saw? Like, has it always been like this? How difficult was it to get the parents on board? And could you give us some insights into what it was like before these interventions, so we can track the impact.
Yeah. So actually, we entered into partnership with the municipal corporation in this school because it had almost become like a failing school because the school had very low enrollment. The early years classes that we took on, kindergarten and class 1, had a sum total of 9 children. And after we started all these interventions, the enrollment actually went up within the month to 120. And by the end of the year, we had more children, and now it's a thriving school with close to 600 children. And we are also working in 2 other schools. And in this network of 3 schools, we are actually able to impact 1,400 children. Initially, attendance used to be an issue, and children would not come regularly to school, and attendance used to hover around 50 to 60%. But after the interventions, attendance became 80%. And we've managed to maintain a good attendance even despite the pandemic. So that's certainly worked. The other wonderful impact that we feel very proud of is the fact that we recently got the opportunity to have a workshop with 50 school leaders in the municipal corporation. And we were privileged to share our learnings with them, and they shared with us what they do in their schools. And it was a wonderful forum for us to learn from each other. So it was an opportunity for us to take impact beyond our schools. And that was really wonderful and exciting.
Yeah. So thank you. And before we move to the questions from the audience, I would like to ask my last question from Preeti. So you mentioned that you conduct regular workshops for the parent community. How do these workshops help engage parents meaningfully in the school ecosystem? Preeti, you're on mute.
So the workshop we are doing with parents are like 2 different kind of workshop, which we call Chai Pe Baatcheets, and which is, as the name suggests, these are workshops where we sit with the parents with a cup of tea and talk about general issues happening in the classroom or happening at home, so like related to the health and well-being of the children, or it can be around a technique we need to teach parents so they can carry on and do it at home with the kids, or it can be around like reducing screen time for children at school and at home. So basically these are the spaces where we as a school, as teachers and the community officers organize these spaces, and these spaces are organized once a term for each grade, and we decide the topics in advance, and we make sure that the timing and the dates are finalized in consultation with the parents, so we have participation, and which is very so we ensure good participation in these meetings. And the idea behind keeping these meetings is for us to actually get solutions from the parents, and we will pose a problem statement to the parents and we'll talk about it, because we want the parents to also feel that that if they have any solutions, and we learn from each other. It's not just us telling them things every time and we are the knowledge bearers here, but actually they telling us, because they know best about their kids, and they know about the demographics their children are coming from, and they know about the best solutions. So anybody who has shown great attendance in the school, for example, we have something like award for 100% attendance in the schools, which we also give to parents. So for a month, if a parent has received the award for the 100%, so in a meeting with, in a Chai Pe Baatcheet with persistent absentees, we will like to invite that parent, and that parent talks about it, how they make it possible, that how their child is coming to school every day. So when the parents hear it from other parents, it looks more real, and I think it looks more implementable for them. Other than that, we also try to have workshops time to time. At the time of COVID as well, the COVID awareness workshops, and also the use of technology was had really increased from 10% to almost 100% during that time for children. So we also had workshops for cybersecurity for the parents, that how they minimize screen time, how they can use it in a manner that it's safe for children. Other than that, workshops on child safety and assault. So parents are well aware. So we also do these sessions with our children. But before doing it with kids, we make sure that we do it with the parents. So if the child is going home with any questions, the parent is in a position to answer those questions, and they are not clueless about that. So we make sure that we are informing parents about that. Other than these spaces, we also try to create some spaces where children where parents also relive some of the moments with the parents from their childhood. So we would organize some art workshops where children are creating some art with the with their parents in the classrooms with the teachers, and then we would be putting them on the walls, so parents also feel, okay, this is our space, we created something and it is visible on the school walls. So it includes everything related to the child health, well-being, serious issues, plus fun times with parents and students, which we enjoy.
Definitely. So we've talked a lot about all these interventions and the different things that we do to meaningfully engage the parent community. And I see the comment box. Teachers from Egypt, Syria, and Nigeria have joined. So they have a lot of questions. So can we now take some questions from the audience?
Yeah.
So the first question I would like to take is Boaz Nakak, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, has asked, has it been challenging to get the parents on board? So, Urmila, would you like to take that one?
Initially, it was. When we first started, the parents didn't know that we had anything different to offer. And many of the parents who cannot afford a private school education and don't have the time to really think or engage with their children's education were, are in a situation where they almost kind of, they have almost kind of lost faith. They've lost their faith in schools. So when we initially started, we had to do a lot of hard work. We still do it. It's not, I'm not saying we don't do it now, but we went into the communities. We went from door to door. We knocked on doors. We met parents. We urged them to bring any child who hasn't yet started going to school. Many parents don't quite know that it's a law to send your child to school. So they may have a child who they just keep at home because they couldn't be bothered to send their child to school, or they're worried about sending their child to school because of safety issues. So we had to do a lot of convincing to tell them that, your child will be safe and please send your child to school. It's important that your child comes to school, especially if the child had a special need. So children with special needs parents needed to be urged to bring their children to school. So all this work had to happen. We did a lot of events in the community. We played videos. We played drums as we walked down the alley to bring people out of their houses. So all that happened. But then after that, it was more about them seeing what's happening in the schools. Seeing is believing. And once they believe, then they invest. It became simple after a while. Simpler. It's never simple.
And like you mentioned, it was literally door to door, because that's what I remember. And in fact, every teacher who joins the school, the orientation involves a day or two in the community. Like that's what the teacher induction includes. So after the trainings, we all have to go back to the community and engage with the parents there. So we also see the students in their home environment. It also helps the teacher develop that context. So I remember all of these door-to-door interventions, having a conversation about why attendance is important. In fact, even going to the school community before the school started and bringing students with us to the classroom. So done it all. But now exactly like after a year or two, when they saw the results, they also talk to the neighbors. And now you don't need to do all of that from scratch. We've built that trust, and now parents trust us. So it was difficult to get the momentum. It was difficult to get that momentum in the beginning, but now the parents are on board. So I see there's a question to Dipali. Dipali, could you share some of the innovative ideas you came up with for working with the parents?
Yeah. So, for working with parents, since I mentioned earlier also that many parents, many kids are first generation learners. So, parents don't have much idea about what education is all about. How is it going to help their kids? What they are going to land up with? So, basically, in the beginning of every session, we make sure that we orient the parents in the beginning of the admission itself. We orient the parents of what they are doing, and we what we do is we make sure that we talk to parents regularly. The most important, the key is interaction with the parents. We keep them informed about all the things, may it be scholarships, may it be the content that we are covering, or the type of things that we're using in the school. Like there are a lot many abstract things, lot many methodologies that we are doing. So we try to show them these things so that they understand by visualizing, because many of them have never been to school, so they don't know the idea, they don't have the exact idea, so what's going to happen in the school, what the kids are going to learn. So once a kid starts, then they learn to witness, and then they witness things that yes, there's a lot of change. My child is able to read, my child is able to write, and then with that we make sure and we request parents to make a connection between the real life and the learning that we are doing in school. Like for example, I'll just quote a simple example, that when they go to market and then they spend, we tell them, we request them to give a choice to the child to make choices, and then the child has to some of the things, some of the total amount to be paid to the vendor and all such things. So they once they are with us, they come and they talk, like through WhatsApp we talk to them regularly, and then we call to them, as we have mentioned earlier, that the child pe baat cheet and all these things. In the morning we talk to them almost every day, and we try to make at least once a week we try to talk to the parents about what the strengths and what the things that we need to work for a child. So the things, the behavioral, maybe it can be a behavioral issue also. So we cater in the school, and then they also have to work on the same thing at home. So all these things, it helps kids and the parents as well in bringing out the best in the
Definitely.
kids. Yeah.
And I remember these little strategies we would tell them where they could involve the students at home with everyday activities. So to develop the fine motor skills, we would tell them things like separating pebbles from the rice, or separating
Yeah.
pulses from rice. So that would help them. We would tell them to send the kids to the shop to buy things so that they could do calculations. So these were innovative ideas where we took workshop with the parents, and we could tell them that they don't need to be graduates to support the children at home. The everyday interaction that we have, that is revision enough for the child to see value, that why they need to learn calculations at home, how the things that they're learning at school is connected with the things they experience at home. So these
Most
were some of the
importantly
other
for
innovative
the
ways.
Yeah, most importantly for the first generation learners, relating these things to the real life is also a big thing, that these things also, the learning in the school is helping them in their day-to-day things and activities
It
that they do
also
at home.
helped parents strengthen their relationship with the students, because the engagement
Absolutely.
also strengthened their bond, and the joy that the
Absolutely.
parents felt when they felt that they could participate in the child's
Yeah.
education.
And seeing their
So
own kid learning so many things and reading and doing calculations and all is also a pleasure for them.
it is, it is. So I'll move on to our next question. And Preeti, would you like to take this one? So
Yeah, sure.
how do you organize the talks to the parents? Are these regular or irregular talks, like WhatsApp messages, etc.? Is it time consuming? And do all the teachers work or talk with the parents? I know it's a couple of questions, but they're all connected. So
Yeah. So the frequency of these talks, like when we talk about the formal conversations, so the orientations happen at the start of the session. There are PTMs related to the academy.
I think she lost
yeah,
connection.
yeah.
So the question was about how we connect with parents, right?
Yeah, are these regular or irregular talks? And do all the teachers do it?
Yeah, all the teachers do it, and we make sure that the message reaches the parent by following multiple ways of disseminating the information. So it goes as a note in the child's bag, it goes as a WhatsApp message, it's conveyed to the parents when they come to drop off or pick up the child, And we have parent champions in the community. These are identified parents who help us to disseminate information in the community. So even if there's a parent who doesn't have a phone, cannot read the note in the diary, hasn't come to pick up the child, that parent will still get the message. So the teacher keeps a record of, which parent has been reached and who's been left out and who the parent champion needs to reach out to. And we make sure that there's 100% dissemination. Yes, it does take a lot of our time, but we enjoy doing it because it brings us rich rewards, because then we have high participation, and that's important for us.
And the child knows there's no escape.
There's
There's no escaping. The information will reach the parent.
Yes.
I forgot to mention the parent champions that you mentioned, because they're a very important part of our engagement, and they were very, very helpful when COVID lockdowns were imposed and we were not able to reach their parents. So how do we identify these champion parents, and what is the interaction with them like? So could you also tell us about that?
So these were just parents who were more invested, and some of them had a bit more time on their hands. They just had a better awareness of what needs to be done for a child's development and growth. And so we just co-opted them and took a special orientation with them and got them to understand what their role would be. And that practice has continued ever since. And now it's a well-established practice in the school. And because we had that whole system in place, during the pandemic, we didn't lose touch with the children. It was easy for us to reach out to them. You're quite right.
Yeah.
So there's one question I noticed. Sorry, Ritu, maybe you can answer it because you were a parent or a teacher at the school as well.
Yes.
The question is, what are the most important purposes parents believe is most important? Socio-emotional, academic, or what?
All right. And I'm also afraid we only have like 3 minutes to go, so I'll quickly try to answer that. Honestly, because most of the parents that our school caters to are first generation learners, the students. So parents were only initially focused on their child being able to read and write. They did not understand why playing was an important part of it. They did not understand the social emotional activities that we were doing at school. And the Kamal Ki class helped there, because when they saw that having a strong relationship and a positive relationship with the teacher made the student more receptive to the learning, that's when they understood the importance of that relationship building. So only after seeing it firsthand themselves, and after all these workshops and orientations we do it with them, parents understood that it's a whole package. You can't separate academic learning from a child's socio-emotional well-being. So now the parent knows the importance of that one-on-one, the importance of conversations when the student goes back home. So it took some time to build that, but now parents know that there's no either or. It's a whole package. And only when the child feels safe, when the child feels happy, the child will be receptive, the child will trust you, and the child will give it their 100%. So I'm very glad and also proud that we have reached the point where parents understand that not just like reading and writing is important, but even spending time with their child is overall development, holistic development of the student is important. And I'm afraid we only have 1 minute, so I'd also like to thank each of the panelists for being so supportive and engaging and answering all the questions well. And as we saw, parent engagement is not just a one-step thing. It involves a lot of steps, and consistency is the key. So holding a parent orientation and setting the expectation at the beginning of the academic year, then consistent interactions throughout the year. Creating platforms where the parents can come and witness their child being engaged in classroom activities, how that helps build that trust. Then everyday interactions where they come to pick their students up or drop their children to school, how that helps. So a lot of small efforts being done consistently. I think that's what separates people from other schools. And that's one of the reasons that we are here talking about these exemplary practices. And we have